What is up, everyone? Sorry we are running late. It has been a very busy day today, and yeah, we're running late a minute, but we're so glad you're here. Thank you for joining us. My name is Josh. This is HollerCast, and we're gonna have a really good live stream tonight. I think it's gonna be fun. We had our guest unfortunately wasn't able to make it. He had something come up last minute. So we're going to just wing it and see what happens. There's all kinds of stuff we can talk about, but we're glad you're here nonetheless. Yeah, thanks for joining us. So I'm Josh. You can find me on them there internets on Facebook, Joshua McKinney. And we have with us, of course, Chase Thomas. Chase?
Josh, I don't know why I ever thought I should have children.
Well, happens to the best of us, man.
And by the way, I'm here too.
Well, we hadn't got to you yet, Noah.
We were getting there, Noah. Dang.
You gotta be patient.
I'm the one with the buttons.
I know you gotta be patient. Gotta be patient. We go around and introduce everybody, and then we go to Noah. You're always there pushing the buttons.
Noah, you're the best of us. You know that, buddy.
Anyway,
You're the best of us.
God, button into our live stream.
Well, spring has sprung, I suppose, huh?
I think it has. So tell us what's the story behind why you were questioning why you had children?
Well,
I think the community
it
needs to
involved
hear this.
spilled milk, not to, bring up the old adage. But that always happens. And I realized I ran out of beard balm before I got here, so I had to stop by Angles. Yep. Shout out Angles. I live like right next to it.
Yeah.
So it's just oftentimes I tell the kids I'm going to the refrigerator. That's Angles.
That's Ingalls.
Yeah,
right.
That's Angles.
You know, when Noah was a little bitty kid, like he thought
boy.
We lived in Johnson City for a while because I was in school at ETSU over there, and it was funny when we went to Johnson City. He thought Johnson City was just that apartment.
Really?
Yeah, that apartment we lived in was Johnson City. The rest of the town was
Yeah.
I don't know.
That was something else.
I don't know what the rest of the town was, but that one apartment was Johnson City.
Boy. Were you a Johnson City guy or an Asheville guy?
Oh, Johnson City for sure.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah, Johnson
See, I was
City.
an Asheville guy.
Right.
I think you were like one or the other.
I think
when
so
you lived
too. I'm more of a Asheville guy now than a Johnson City guy.
there. Yeah.
Trashville.
Whatever the new adage is now.
Yeah, it's Trashville. I don't know.
Boy,
why.
I worry about Asheville.
Man, I do too. It's getting pretty sketch.
Well, downtown was great there for the longest time, and we defunded the police or whatnot, and
I don't even. I
not
think
that that's by any stretch of the imagination the only problem.
no,
but
no. I mean, them defunding the police probably didn't help. But man, the homeless problem, the drug problem, the mental health crisis. All of that combined is just a recipe for disaster.
What do you think it is about places like Asheville that attract that kind of thing?
Um,
Because, you wouldn't consider Asheville like a 12-month
Big city.
homeless shelter, though. Like a lot of towns, seems to me that it has a lot to do with climate.
yeah, and
Right?
yeah, I would agree with that.
So
And
why
it's-
is it so prevalent in Asheville?
That's a good question because Asheville's cold half the year.
Yeah.
It is cold half the year. And I don't know. I don't know why. Maybe it's
Just that it got so popular so quick that it's one of those.
It really did. It's like it's almost like Little Portland or Little San Francisco. It's
Yeah, you have these little boom towns, and they always seem to
they really do attract
that kind of thing.
Yeah, homelessness, drug problems, and with that the whole like the gang issues. It's crazy. I don't know what causes that or what the answer is. I don't have an answer.
Well, Asheville's beginning to remind me more of what it was like back when we were young.
Yeah.
They went through its gentrification
When it was
process, and
dangerous.
it's like it's got too good for itself or something. I don't know. I don't get it.
And then there's that whole argument that gentrification like prices impoverished people of color, people who are below me, people who don't have the means to live in areas that are expensive. It prices them out of the markets and out of the area. And I always kind of thought like that whole argument was a little bit racist too, because like the idea that people of color can't live in nicer areas, the idea that you're pricing them out seems a little bit racist to me personally.
Yeah.
Because
What is it? Ronald Reagan said the soft bigotry of low expectations.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely a lot of that, but I don't know.
I don't know what the answer is to Asheville.
Well, it's not just Asheville. It's happened to places all over the country. To the size of Asheville, to to Austin, Texas, to
Do you think
San
Charlotte's
Francisco.
changed any at all?
I think Charlotte is actually doing much better for itself.
Yeah.
And they say that I read an article that was pretty fascinating that Charlotte is fast becoming like what's considered one of the best cities for African American people and people of color.
Really?
Yeah. And I think a lot, I mean, Charlotte has a significant, I think Charlotte is actually you may be talking population wise, African Americans may make up a bigger population of Charlotte Metro than anything else, I think.
The non-POCs. That's the new term.
Non-POCs,
non-POC.
people of color. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. That's
But,
the new
I mean, that's good. Because Laura lived down there,
Mm-hmm.
and my ex-wife also lives there, so I was down there with her and the kids, dropping the kids off to her quite often. I've gotten kind of to see a little bit more of Charlotte than I have in a long while,
Right.
and it seems like it is doing well for itself.
I feel better going to Charlotte than I do Asheville for some reason.
I do too, actually.
Like, I feel safer. It doesn't have that vibe of danger to
The
it.
last time I was in Asheville, and me and Ryder went, and we went to I can't remember what we were doing. But anyway, we were walking around downtown. That was the first time in a long time. I worked downtown for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first time I've ever felt like this is a little sketch.
Yeah.
A little sus down there.
Well, to switch gears a little bit, did you get the all call from the school today about them bringing the drug dogs into the high school?
I did get that.
So for those of you that didn't get it or don't know, they brought drug dogs, canines into the school today, and they, they do that. I think what they say once a month or once a semester or something like that.
I think they said once a month.
I don't know. Anyway, they bring them in ever so often, and they go through and they do a sweep just to search for narcotics. And they were happy to report, and I'm happy to report, they didn't find anything, which is fantastic. So go Mitchell County Schools.
Yeah.
For that. That's great. Noah, did you have the drug dog sniff you out today?
No, they had. What they did have was I was in my second period. Whenever they brought the drug dogs in, I was like, "Oh crap, I'm gonna have a dog near me." But no, what they did, they put us in a soft lockdown first.
Yeah.
Then brought us all out in the hallway, and we stood out there, and they brought the dogs in throughout the room, and then they left. That was it. It took like 3 minutes.
They didn't do that when we were in school. They did the drug dogs, but they just we just sat there and they just walked around the classroom sniffing our book bags.
I remember there was one guy next to me in particular, I think was sweating it. He was sweating it.
Oh, I'm sure there was many people sweating it.
Yeah. I wonder if drug dogs, can they detect the vape? I know the vape pen, the cannabis vape pens were a big thing.
That's a good question.
That's what Dakota always told me.
I don't know.
Is that a big thing?
I know that there are vape pens that exist within the school. I don't know who, but I know it exists. Sometimes I'll walk.
Of course.
Sometimes
Right.
Sometimes I'll walk into the bathroom and like, ooh, I smell grape.
Right.
Well, that's so different than we were in school. We walked into the bathroom to this cloud of cigarette smoke.
Speaking
now
of,
you walk in and smell grape.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I don't know what I was smelling, but I was in my first period yesterday, and I got the most foul stench of what I thought was like weed. It smelled so strongly of marijuana. I don't
there's
know
a couple,
what it was.
there's a couple earth types out there. Maybe they were saging up the room or something
Might have
like
been.
that.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it smelled awful.
Yeah.
Getting rid of the bad mojo is what they were doing.
I doubt you smelled any narcotics at school.
No, but it still smelled terrible.
It was probably a skunk.
Maybe a skunk.
It was probably a skunk. The skunk weed. I don't know, man. There for a while, like at the bottom of Iron Mountain on the limestone side of it.
Right.
There for the longest time, every time I drove through there, it seemed like it didn't matter. It was like months and months and months. I constantly in one area smelled a skunk all the time, and I was like, okay, this skunk can't be here like this long. So
Right.
someone somewhere is growing something.
Right. That's the thing about weed. It's hard to hide.
It really is.
It's hard to hide. I know my ex-wife is from up north, and some of her relatives were telling me one time, at the way that they, in the winter up there where it snows so much or whatever, if you see a roof that doesn't have any snow on it,
you know that they're growing. It's a grow house.
that's how you know that's a grow house.
That
I
yeah.
have kind of a funny story. I went to the movies with friends of mine about a month ago or about, and we go to a Dollar General to get snacks because my dad had sent me money to get some snacks and stuff. And I walk into that Dollar General, and I got everything I wanted, and I got in line. I take one whiff, and it punched me in the face of marijuana. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Here's my question.
Sure.
How do you know what marijuana smells like?
When I smelled it one time, I was like, what's that smell? And I forgot who it was. Someone said marijuana. That's how I know. You know
Sweating over there.
Yeah.
You know I've never smoked.
No,
it ever.
I know. I'm just giving you a hard time. I got to give you the business.
So I guess North Carolina just got medical, right?
I have no idea.
Semblance of medical, I believe it is. I think it's
I have no idea.
real restricted to like the pain management side of it. You basically got to be like your eyeballs got to be hanging out or something.
Right.
Like you got bad.
Man, I would be all for it.
Glaucoma.
I mean, I think just stop hiding behind the medical facade and just legalize it
I know.
recreationally.
I can't understand how like Alabama is about to have recreational, and
And we're
North
not.
Carolina's not. That just seems totally backwards to me.
It does, and I feel like North Carolina is a little bit more of a progressive state than
I do
Alabama.
too. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Exactly my point. We definitely seem like the less regressive of the two. I don't know.
what a world, man!
I don't know. I just think it's about an acknowledgement of reality. I mean,
I know.
Now that it's legal in lots of other states, it's just so easy to get and so prevalent. It just seems I just can't understand why you could make the argument for it. I mean,
Well, we did get statewide. I wouldn't call it constitutional carry because it's not constitutional carry.
Yes.
However, you no longer have to get a permit from the sheriff's department to buy a handgun, which is fantastic if you're a Second Amendment absolutist.
Am I wrong in assuming that they did away with that because there was some redundancy there? Because like
There was.
in order to buy a gun from a gun store of any sort, you still have to submit to a background check, correct?
You do, yes. Yeah.
So I mean, it's basically you were just having to go to the sheriff's to get the same background check, just specifically for a handgun.
Yes, that's correct.
So I mean,
Yeah.
it was kind of just a streamlining the process sort of thing.
It was
but, I can
streamlining
understand.
the process, and it was cutting out fees because I mean, the people who want to legally buy a firearm or legally buy a handgun, they're going to go pay the fee. I think it was what is it, $95 for a permit at the sheriff's department?
I think that was what it was.
I think it
last
was
time I went.
$95. So that's $95 you don't have to spend now. Basically, that was just a stream of revenue for the state. And what I think really what was a big determining factor in it is there's so many concealed carry that $95 wasn't a viable revenue stream for the state, so they got done away with it.
Right.
Because let's face it,
Probably costed them more to do it than they were making on actually doing it.
let's face it, that's the only thing that really matters to the state of North Carolina.
Right.
Is their bottom line.
Seems like that just dropped kind of out of nowhere. I guess that would just get passed in the legislature and therefore was made into
I
law.
guess I don't know. I heard about it at work the other day and was like, wow, that's pretty cool.
So I wonder if Roy Cooper signed that into law. That would kind of surprise me.
It would surprise me. I don't know.
Can we look that up?
We can. I can
Look that up, JMO. Did Roy Cooper sign?
Okay.
I wonder what House bill that was.
Son, NC, gun law.
I don't know if you guys have been into High Country Arms. Have you been down there?
No.
Nice store.
Yeah.
Very nice store. And from what I could tell, had some very reasonable prices.
So Governor Cooper vetoed it, and the General Assembly overrode his veto.
Overrode his veto. So the Republicans still have
I guess a majority.
Override majority.
I would assume so.
So that's like a super majority, basically, right?
Yes, I believe so. Don't quote me on that.
This is why we need to have Ralph on. We got to
is.
reach back out to Ralph. We're trying not to bother him because we know
He's a very busy man.
it's in session right now.
Are you talking about Ralph Highs?
Yes.
Yeah.
I had to write a paper on him.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
I chose him to write a paper on.
Nice fella. I love Ralph.
Yeah, Ralph's a good dude.
Speaking,
He is a good dude.
Speaking of guns, I'm like a ginormous gun geek and cannot wait till I'm old enough to purchase my first firearm, and I'm going to have a lot
Well,
because I just think they're awesome.
It's your constitutional right, buddy. Just be safe with it.
yep. Absolutely.
Just be safe with it.
Oh, he'll be safe.
I think a lot of people are like, if you've never shot a gun around here, I mean, I don't know what you are doing.
Right.
I mean,
That's one of those issues that I guess I'm pretty. I like to think of myself like nuanced politically because I'm not a straight party, straight red, straight blue
right.
kind of guy.
Neither am I.
But the Second Amendment is one thing that I'm pretty absolutist on that, and free speech.
Me too.
Those two things.
Me too.
I really am. That's not to say that we need just unfettered guns everywhere. I think background checks are a great idea. Strong background checks are a great idea.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, you have to. I know some people, and I don't necessarily subscribe to this, but I know some people that think that felons should be able to have firearms because they think it goes against their Second Amendment,
Right.
rights. And I can see that side of the argument. I don't agree with it.
I don't either.
Especially violent felons. I think
Right.
you do certain things.
Now, if you went to
give up your
jail
rights.
for a non-violent crime,
There
I
should
mean,
be a
I mean,
route
if
for
you-
you to get those rights back.
right, of course. If you went for
I would think.
got involved in some insider trading or something, just happened to spend some time in
Yeah.
the clink.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't see how that's
that's technically, and that's a felony. So I mean,
Right.
you wouldn't be able to have a gun after that.
right. There's
Um,
lots of things that are oddly felonies that you can't have,
Right.
you know. So,
I don't know.
non-violent crime versus violent crime, I think, is the separating factor.
It is. That's the
Ideally.
nuance there. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of those things we need to look at. You know, there's a lot of nuance in law. I think some of the things with the, with the sex offender stuff, while I'm obviously 100% supportive of a registry and all that, but, if it was a statutory thing, there's a lot of young men that have been doomed to a life of very stigma and just very difficult to get a job.
Yep.
All because
Yep.
daddy didn't like when they were, 18 and 17,
Right. And that's one of
And
those
that's
things.
not fair. I mean, any thinking person could see the difference between that
Sure.
and some sort of other, obviously, across the line
Oh, for sure.
offense,
For sure. And it's the older I get, the more I realize that life is not so black and white.
No, it is not.
I mean, it really
Life
isn't.
lies in the gray, I think.
A lot of it does. I mean, there are some obviously hard lines you have to
Oh,
draw.
for sure.
But it's so life is so nuanced. It's so nuanced, and if you take the nuance out of life and you have just this rigid, strict set of values, ideology, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's virtually impossible to to adhere to. Yeah, I don't think that would be. I mean, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that. I lost my train of thought. But either way,
I mean, I think it's like I said. I think life and truth probably lies somewhere in the middle, somewhere in the gray area.
yeah, truth.
Oftentimes, I think probably a vast majority of the time, the truth lies somewhere in between.
Here's a good one for you. Do you believe we have free will?
It depends on whether you think this is a simulation or not. If this is all simulation, then no. Maybe we have free will within that simulation.
Considering-
but ultimately, no.
Assuming this isn't a simulation, and we
Assuming
are
this
assuming this isn't a simulation.
Yeah, I do.
You think we have free will?
I do.
Me too. I mean, we really have no choice in the matter.
No, true. Yeah. You got me.
To paraphrase the late Christopher Hitchens.
Yep. It's true.
Of course we have free matter. Or of course we have free will. There's no
Well, that's
choice
one of
in
those
matter.
mental exercises that you never get to the
No.
end of.
No.
It's like which came first, the chicken or
The chicken or the egg. And it doesn't matter if you, go at that from a theological argument or from an evolutionary biological argument. There's still an argument to be had both ways.
Yeah, I think so.
Whether you have subscribe to a religious or a secular worldview, there's still arguments for that.
Well, I don't think we made the decision to be put here. So, I mean, that in and of itself was not free will.
That's true.
But I think we have free will within whatever this
Whatever
experience
this
that we're...
experience is.
Yeah, whatever this is. Whatever this is.
What is this? Do you think we're in a simulation?
Personally, I think we're in the Matrix.
Yeah. I've thought a lot about this, and I don't think so.
Yeah.
But I think it is entirely plausible.
I don't think we are either. But yeah, I'm with you. I think it is possible. And I mean, there is an argument to be made that we are in a simulation.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, I can tell you a million ways in which I think that's true. I don't know.
Dude, I heard we're going to Mars, or not Mars, but the moon again.
Yes, we are.
That is so cool.
I know.
That is so cool. When is that going to happen? Do we know?
I think we're talking, me and Laura were talking about this last night, actually. There's a bunch of steps you got to take to get there. So as far as I know, I'm a little bit of a buff for this. As far as I can tell, the Artemis moon missions they're going to fly the rocket there autonomously first, obviously, and get back.
Right.
And then the steps go something like put people on that, put them around the moon a couple times. Then like the second time you take the lunar lander with you, but you don't land it.
Right.
On the moon.
Okay.
So there's a lot of these missions that are going to take place, but I think ultimately they're trying for, I think it's 2025 maybe.
According to NASA.gov, it looks like... So... With Artemis missions, NASA will land the first woman and the first person of color on the moon, using innovative technologies to explore more of the lunar surface than ever before. We will collaborate with commercial and international partners and establish the first long-term presence on the moon. Then we will use what we learn on and around the moon to take the next giant leap, sending the first astronauts to Mars.
Woo.
That's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. And I think it's a part, NASA's heading that up basically, but if I'm not mistaken, I think Northrop Grumman designed the actual capsule that is the Artemis
Gotcha.
Can I
spacecraft.
present kind of a question or like a hypothetical theory here?
Sure.
I think eventually we're going to get so deep into space and dive so deep that we're going to poke and prod at something that we're not supposed to poke at, and something's going to happen.
Well, some say that's happening now.
I don't know. We've been poking and prodding at space for a long time.
No, I'm not saying like Martians and stuff like that, but I'm saying it is hypothetically possible that something could happen.
Well, you got to remember, everything's hypothetically possible.
I'm just kind of throwing something out there I thought was interesting.
No, I know, but I'm keeping you in check with your logical fallacies here too. It's part of this.
Fallacies is a word I don't understand.
Well, you need to become familiar with it.
Well, my vocabulary is good, but not that good.
Okay, so we've been sending out signals to space for how long now?
Oh, a while.
A
Since
long time. Since the
60s,
I think.
Yeah.
Since the 60s at least. There is strong, I feel strong evidence that we've already made contact. We've captured alien craft, especially. I personally believe Bob Lazar. I think there's some truth in what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. Just the fact that he's been so consistent over the years, it's done nothing but destroy his life. Like, he's gained nothing out of that whatsoever.
I know. And his story's been very consistent.
Very consistent the whole time.
And one thing that inclines me to believe him, is, he's talked about several times, like, how compartmentalized all that stuff is.
Yep.
Like, he was there to work on one thing and one thing only, and was not allowed to ask questions or
About anything else.
Right. He was there to specifically study what he said was the propulsion mechanism that was on an alien, supposedly an alien spacecraft.
Yeah. Or a craft of not of
this
world. Yeah.
Yeah.
Its origin was unknown.
Remember when we tried to raid Area 51?
Yeah, that didn't go so well.
I know, that was so stupid.
If you've ever been out there, I've been out there.
I've never been.
Yeah, I've been out there towards like the little alien inn and all that.
That's cool.
And boy, there's a whole lot of
the whole area is just like
out there.
The whole area is like a tourist trap of just like alien stuff.
A little bit, but there's nothing out there. They're literally like one gift shop and like a thing and like tons of. But yeah, I mean, you start riding out through there. There's no gas past the. I don't even think the little alien has gas. No, it didn't. There's like, you got to take like a gas tank with you if you're going all the way out there. It is literally in the middle of nowhere. There's a reason they fly people in there.
Yeah.
You don't drive out there.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
So Noah, what do you think when you were saying that we were going to poke and prod until something happened? What were you referring to? What do you think?
Cosmic explosions, possibly, very possibly, creatures that don't like us poking and prodding at their crap. And they're like, you know what? I've had enough of the human race. And then, ow. Shit in my mic. Ow.
Don't worry, I'll talk with my hands too, man.
And eventually, we get wiped off in the universe. Boom, we're all gone.
You play way too many video games.
I'm just saying.
I think the likelihood is that if there is a civilization that somehow bridged that gap to where they could travel intergalactically, basically, I think that they would be of a sufficient knowledge level and may be looking at us like,
maybe we're a zoo.
yeah. I hate to say it, and I know it's the trope, but like, I think they look down on us and like, good Lord, what have those monkeys done? You know what I mean?
We're the primate exhibition.
Yeah, we might be. We might be.
The galactic primate. It reminds me of that episode of South Park where they, have you seen the one where Earth is just a reality TV show where they take species from every planet and put them on Earth and watch them just fight it out the whole time. Yeah. Yeah. It's great. It's great. And like everything else South Park does, they were the first ones to really, they called out Harvey Weinstein in that episode.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. They, the boys had to go meet with two executives over the network that produced the show Earth, and they were one was a parody of Harvey Weinstein, and the other one was a parody of some other like sleazeball in Hollywood. And they went to a heckler bar is what they called it, but you know what it was. You know, it was a strip club, and then they went back and got themselves some alien hookers and went to a hotel room and like did all kinds of crazy stuff. And they were doing lines of like this sparkly stuff they called Glock. And you want to try some Glock? But yeah, they totally gave him the South Park treatment before it ever. I mean, probably 10 or 15 years before anything came out about his sleazy behavior. He's still in prison.
They're national treasures. I guess he is in prison.
They are. Trey Parker and Matt Stone.
Yeah, they need to be protected.
They do, at all cost.
Some of the most brilliant social and political commentary I've ever witnessed, ever seen.
I think the most brilliant I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, ever.
Mm-hmm.
They are so spot on with everything. So
and it amazes me how they come up with how they manage to stay so relevant. But then again, the last 15 years have been completely wild.
I know.
So, like, I guess we give them all the ammo that they need, right?
Yeah, yeah.
As a society, especially in America.
When you're doing that kind of societal commentary, it's not hard to stay relevant, really. It's really not. They've got now. Have you seen that 72 Hours to Air where they it's like a little mini documentary about how they do their show. They literally write, animate, voiceover, everything, each episode 1 week before it comes out. And that's how they stay so caught up on current topics.
God.
They do everything in a week. It's actually 3 days. They do it all in 72 hours. They literally work around the clock for 3 days doing an episode, and I guess just crash for 4 days.
That's crazy. How do you keep that up? But it's very obvious that they maintain the creative reins of the whole thing too. It's never once wavered from what it was in the beginning.
My
basically.
favorite story about Trey Parker and Matt Stone ever was when they went to the Oscars, and they've always been like anti-establishment. They hated Hollywood.
Right.
They were the outsiders, but they got invited to the Oscars.
Yeah.
And they were just going to take a piss at it,
Right.
So they took a bunch of LSD, and we're both wearing the green J-Lo dress.
Right.
We're just tripping out of their minds on the red carpet around all these celebrities, and everyone kept commenting on their dress and their attire, but they just completely ignored it. They didn't even acknowledge the fact that they were wearing dresses. Every time someone would bring up their dress, they'd be like, "It's such a beautiful evening." They would just change the subject entirely.
That is the most. That sounds like them to a T.
Dude.
Actually,
They are legends, man. There's a couple people we need to get. We need to
get Trey Parker and Matt Stone on the show.
we do need to get them on the show. That'd be awesome.
Trey Parker and Matt Stone, we need you on our show, please. I'll pay for your plane ticket, and you can crash on my couch.
Help them write an episode.
Yeah.
fun.
We'll fly you out of Legion. You can crash. We treat our guests right here at
Boy.
HollerCast.
It's first class over here, baby.
do you think we'll ever have celebrity figures? Ever?
Why not? If we keep doing what we're doing, sure, why not? Sky's the limit.
Sure.
Just got to be consistent at it. That's
Yep.
why we're here. That's why we're here.
You really do. You have to be consistent. And we will be better about being on time. Sorry. That was my fault too. And we're not going to be late over spilled milk.
No.
Sorry.
Or we are. So.
No, it's all right, dude. Stuff happens. The best we can do.
But no, getting back to what you were talking about with the Artemis the Moon missions, I guess Elon's going to light off that Starship here. I believe I read it was April 10th. There's like a window, April 10th and 11th coming up here.
Didn't they lose one recently? Didn't one?
I don't think so. They did the static fire on the fully stacked boosted rocket.
Okay.
That was the last thing they did.
Gotcha.
But yeah, they lost a bunch of them when they were trying to do those little hops. They were
Yeah.
trying to take it and hop it from one place to the other. But then they did the just the Starship itself. I think they did 2 different launches where it just went up and then came back down and to test the fact that it could land on its own. That's just the actual spaceship, not the booster.
Gotcha.
And so
Okay,
what they
okay,
were testing was, basically it coming in for
Right.
landing. But this is going to be the first orbital test flight, and then
Right.
reinsertion and landing.
Cool.
I'm actually more fascinated by the carriers that carry these rockets rather than the rockets themselves. Those things are ginormous.
Oh, you talking about the tongs?
Yeah, the ones that carry the rocket to
Oh yeah,
launch.
yeah.
Those things
The
are
vehicles.
rad looking.
Yeah, it's like a giant tracked platform. Pretty
Pretty
much.
wild.
They're
Now they
huge.
transfer the Falcon Falcon rockets.
Mm-hmm.
Or Falcon, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Falcon and Falcon Heavy. They transfer the Falcon rocket down. It rolls out of it lays down in its warehouse, and then it rolls out, and then the actual vehicle that it rolls out on stands it up. And that's how they plan on making them rapidly reusable.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
That's crazy.
Those videos of the two boosters coming in and landing right side by side with them is the wildest.
Can you
thing.
pull that? Let's pull that up. Let's watch it.
Yeah.
What am I pulling up?
Look up Falcon Heavy booster landing.
It's incredible.
It is incredible. I mean, it's incredible enough to see one of them do it, but then when two of them do it right at the same time,
Yep.
it's really cool.
Yep.
Really cool. It's amazing. I'm fascinated by all that space travel stuff.
Dude,
I went to space camp when I was in fourth
that's
grade. I've been
amazing.
hooked ever since.
I would have loved to have went to space camp. I was nowhere near smart enough or applied myself enough to go to space camp.
Well, we didn't go to actual space. I didn't go to actual individual space camp.
Gotcha.
Rhonda Phillips in the fourth grade science class
Right.
went to, at Deaton, went to space camp. And it was awesome.
Yeah.
Actually, I guess it was at Harris. Fourth grade was at Harris at that point. But yeah, it was really cool. We spent like 3 days down there. It was really cool.
I'm not sure which video to click on.
So, right here.
Right here?
Second one. Boosters land. Do that one. Right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let me go to desktop real quick.
Let's do this one right here, actually, because it's in the day. You can see it better.
Right here?
Yes, this one.
Come.
Yeah.
It's loud.
No, let it play. Let it
Just
play.
let it play. It's good.
Yeah, leave it loud because it'll have to come through the live stream like that.
You may have to fast forward it just a little bit.
Okay.
I think it's going to show the launch probably too. So just go towards the end, maybe. I got that. Here we go up here. I think that I saw it back here. Keep going back. I've watched 100 of these, so I can tell you
You know
Back,
exactly
back,
where
back,
it's
back.
at.
Huh. Go for it a little ways. They land pretty shortly after the second stage. Right there. Go back just a smidge and let it play. Yeah.
Put us on camera 4 too, please, the table. Thank you, bud.
Give me full screen.
Yeah.
If you've never seen one of these, it's incredible.
In about 5 seconds here, the side booster's landing burn will begin as well.
That's insane.
That is crazy. I think that was the first time they did it, so they were pumped.
Right now. Both side boosters has landed on our landing pads. Zone 1 and Zone 2. What an amazing sight to see.
So for anybody who doesn't understand why that is important, it's that rockets have never been reusable before. We've never been able to reuse a part of a rocket with the exception of maybe a capsule. And with the space shuttle, we actually reuse the space shuttle crap.
Yeah.
But the boosters that we use, the solid rocket boosters in the case of the space shuttle, were just lost.
Yeah.
They just burned up upon reentry or landed in the ocean most of the time. So what Elon Musk is trying to do is make these things rapidly reusable. So we're able to reuse the actual Falcon, or they call it Crew Dragon, the Dragon capsule. There's Crew Dragon and then Cargo Dragon, which is just, unmanned, basically resupply missions to the International Space Station. That's what it's used for.
Gotcha.
So you reuse the capsules, you reuse the two boosters, like you said. That was on Falcon Heavy, which uses 2 boosters, and then there's just regular Falcon, which is just a one booster, and it lands itself. The only part of the Falcon rocket that's lost is the second stage portion of it. And then Starship is going to be fully reusable all the way around. We recover the booster, we recover the craft, and it's rapidly reusable as well. So they catch them, and then they're able to refurbish them rapidly and go one back to back to back. How many How many launches has SpaceX done this year? It's some incredible number.
Let me Google.
I mean, they are just killing it.
I don't know. SpaceX, is that who you said, or NASA? Who'd you ask about?
Oh, SpaceX.
SpaceX.
Yeah. Laura should be here in a minute.
Sweet.
22.
That's wild.
22 rockets.
If you could go up into space, would you do it? I would in a heartbeat.
I would.
I would too.
I would.
I'd go in a heartbeat.
I would.
That would be so cool. Even knowing like the risk, you know, you may not come back. You may not come back.
I would say that I don't even want to die on this planet, but that is a very rich thing to say, I feel like.
Right. Right.
I feel like after I die, I'm just going to have my body thrown into orbit.
Theo Vaughn. And
Thrown into orbit.
Yeah, just launch me into orbit.
Johnny Unitas, I think he's dead, so I don't know if anybody can actually do that but him.
clear my junk out for Laura.
We're going to have a special guest on the live stream. We had a couple of people lined up, and unfortunately they weren't able to make it, so we got someone on their way to
My gal
join us.
friend.
Yes, Laura.
And old Mitchell County transplant.
Yep.
Yeah, her family moved here from Raleigh, and they're originally from Ohio.
Ohio.
Do
Sixth
either-
grade, I think she
Do
came.
either of you understand the memes behind Ohio?
No,
I don't know if
Yeah,
you can
I
delve into
do.
that.
I don't.
Okay.
Ohio is just the most American place of all time. It's like if you just, that's like the beating heartbeat of America right there. It's like you don't get no more American than just straight Ohio people, I think.
You know, it's kind of ironic if you look at a map of the United States and you look where Ohio is placed, it would be kind of placed towards kind of like what looks like a chest area of the United States, which I think is kind of ironic that you call it the heart of America when it's in that spot. I don't know if I'm being too nerdy.
Well,
but
which way is
go
America laying? Is it laying? Are we looking at an anterior view of America?
I've always wondered that, why we look at things in a certain direction when the planet is round.
Yeah.
You ever thought about that? Like, we're just in space. Who says what's up or down?
Exactly.
Right?
Up and down is a social construct.
Yes.
Hey, toss me that little remote for the lights, Noah.
like throw it at you.
Throw it at me. Throw it at me. Awesome.
It was thrown at you.
Sweet. Sweet. I've got to change. I got to fix this here.
We've been going for 50 minutes.
Yeah, we usually stream till 10. And the live streams are a little less, they're not as informal.
They're the least formal ever.
Or they're not as formal. Yeah, they are. They're the least formal.
They're goofy, which is what I like.
There, now all the colors match. It's so weird. The remote for the television where we got the HollerCast logo
Mm-hmm.
must send out the same kind of frequency as the remote for the LED lights, because when I turn the television on, it changes the colors of the lights. I dropped that remote, but whatever. Yeah, it changes the colors of the lights. When I turn on the TV, the lights change colors, and they go into weird different modes and stuff. They start doing crazy stuff.
Technology is so fascinating. I was actually, before I started, I was watching a video on the Demon Core and how 2 people perished while touching it.
Oh, yeah. That was the Kyle Hill video.
Yep.
Kyle Hill's awesome. We need nuclear power, man. We need cheap, clean, and he's a huge proponent of nuclear power. I am too.
People just need to learn how to responsibly handle it.
Well, I mean, we do now. I mean,
We didn't back in the 60s.
well, not that we did.
Down
But.
there.
Hi, Laura.
Hi.
Good to see you again.
See you.
How are you?
Doing good. How are you?
Doing fine. Have a seat, please. Welcome.
This is what we want. We just do it just impromptu. And
Yeah, we're just talking.
so you got headphones right there you can put on. And then these things right here, they're adjustable. but you kind of got to eat it a little bit.
Yeah, the mic. You got to stay up on the microphone.
Yes. Boom.
You hear
So-
everything all right?
Yeah, here,
Cool.
great.
Cool. And this is my son Noah. He's our producer.
Hey, Noah.
Sorry, I should have introduced you to Noah.
Chase, what are you doing?
Like I said, he's the heartbeat of what we do. He's the best of us. So we were basically, I was telling her, we basically have rehashed the conversation that me and her had last night about a couple things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about guns earlier. Remember the new
Oh, yeah.
constitutional carry or whatever, where you
Yeah.
don't have to go through the sheriff's office to get a permit anymore. We're talking about that. We've talked about a lot of things. It's crazy.
We have.
And we were just covering SpaceX landing 2 Falcon boosters just a second ago.
That's so exciting.
But now we should get it back to more like local stuff. I feel like.
I mean, we could bring SpaceX here.
Yeah, we'll put them in the old Henry Don.
Exactly. Elon Musk, you need to buy the old Henry Don plant.
Yes.
And it may be a Tesla factory. That would
Yes.
be great. We can make
Giga
Teslas
spruce
here.
there you go.
Gigapine.
Gigabyte.
I'm all about it. I'd be cool living next to the spruce pine.
I would too.
For
I would too. What would you think?
I think that'd be super exciting. I mean, let's get Spruce Pine on the map.
Yes, no
Yes.
joke. We'll be launching rockets we'll be launching rockets out there in Ledger.
Lord knows we've got the room for it.
Yeah.
Right. I'm
So,
gonna,
what was that
tweet at him.
That was one of the most fascinating things I've seen. Was it who was telling us about how they were dumped power into Jimmy?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, by the way, shout out Jimmy. They did. Me and Jimmy, me and Laura went down to Jimmy's 80s prom thing the other night, and the power was out.
I was gonna ask how that went with the power being out.
Oh, he was Jimmy jamming it with a
Generators.
with a
Yeah.
generator, wasn't he?
Jimmy
Oh,
jamming
yeah.
generators.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was so crazy. We drove by, complete darkness everywhere, and then you just see just bolts of bright light coming out
Yeah,
of there.
he had the lights and the music and everything going off a generator, but
That is
nothing else.
amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
And unfortunately, the food trucks and I guess the beverage people weren't able to make it because I guess they were food trucks and
Right.
they didn't come because of either the power or something else. But shout out to him for putting it on. I mean, apparently they had it was packed.
Oh yeah.
Even when we were there, and I think we were there a little bit past the prime of it.
Yeah.
So I hope it went well for him. I was hoping to see.
I saw
him.
some pictures on Facebook and I was like, how? But it's crazy. We have this technology called a generator.
It's wild.
It is wild, and I sometimes forget that.
That's where her house. I told her dad had their house rigged up with solar panels and
Got it
a
Joe
transfer switch for all that stuff. And I'm like, this is where this house shines.
That's
right here
awesome.
when the power goes out.
So y'all had electricity the whole time, basically.
Oh, the whole
Yeah.
time. I called Mom. I was like, well, I'll be back. We don't have power. And she's like, we don't have power. Oh, yeah, that's right. We have a generator.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. That's pretty great. And you can tell the people who are prepared because you drive around in the darkness and you just see the random light. And then there's one house that's like lit up completely. You're like, oh, those people prepared.
They've got a
Rich,
generator.
dang
Yeah. We know you can't hide money. You can't hide
We
money.
should save for a generator. I'll start saving.
All right, you get on that, Noah.
We'll buy a generator for the podcast.
Save your salary from the podcast and buy me a generator.
All right. Noted.
Boy, them generators are not cheap. The good ones, especially
like
the
a
whole home
Generac?
ones.
Yeah.
You're talking like $30,000 for a good size home. It's
I'm gonna be saving for a good
investment.
while then.
yeah.
I've actually looked at some of the Tesla like solar whole house systems where you just have a huge massive battery bank and that stores power, and it's a battery backup.
Well, like
for your
her
house.
family sold. You got to sell it back to the power company.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We do.
So,
yeah, we've got a lot to.
and it's not like they've got a massive system. So you'd be surprised how little you have to do to sell it back to the company. It's wild.
Wow.
Yeah. There's a
It's
guy.
just in a small area. It's just on the top of our
Yeah, and that's
roof.
not a
It's
very big roof.
small. Yeah.
Really?
No, it's not. Of course, her dad was a genius. Shout
Yeah.
out Joe. Love him.
Good old Joe Noser.
Good old Joe Noser. But there's a guy out. Oh shoot, what's that? Where you turn? Oh Jesus, over there, right at the county line, at the Yancey County line. If you turn left, that road that goes down through there.
Yeah.
off 19. What is that? Crabtree.
Crabtree.
Good grief. But there's a guy at the head of Crabtree up there where the falls is.
Mm-hmm.
He has a hydroelectric power plant and sells it back to Duke Energy. I never thought that ever existed, but I've worked on his home, and I can tell you it exists.
Wow.
It's where the old mining,
Yeah.
you know, at the end there, right before it turns up and goes the thing, there's two,
Yeah.
like little lakes or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Right there was where the old mining village used to sit.
Yep.
Right there. And they ran that whole mining village originally back in the early 1900s off of hydroelectric power, off that very waterfall that he uses.
So I've got a creek across the road. I wonder if I could get a little
Dude,
alternator.
we'll tap it up.
And
There you
a
go.
little.
That's a good start.
Dam it up.
We could run one of the lights off of it, maybe.
Well, what they do, I don't think you have to have a giant. I mean, obviously, you can't be a branch or something, you know, like sewer runoff or whatever. But
That's what I have as a branch.
yeah,
A
that's
small
branch.
creek.
It's funny the distinctions between the names for all the small bodies of water.
Yeah, I never use the word
Creek,
branch.
a pond. What defines a pond? What separates a pond from a lake?
Size.
Size.
But like,
Yeah.
what kind of size?
Like what?
When does it become a lake?
Orders of magnitude.
Right.
I'm just going to
Yeah.
keep using these very vague descriptors. I don't know. I have no idea. Do you know?
I have no idea. If it looks small, I'm like, look at that pond right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just roll with it. It's just one of them things you just roll with.
Like, I mean, Pound Lake's a lake. Or is it a big pond? Is it a small lake or a
See,
big
that's
pond?
what I'm saying.
They call it a lake.
They
They
do.
call it a lake, but I don't think they call it a lake because they want it to be fancy. That ain't nothing but a big
Right.
pond, son.
feel
What's
like-
a pond? What's there be like an actual technical difference between a
I'm
pond
gonna look
and
it
a
up.
lake?
I feel like
Maybe a
this-
lake is actually fed by a river, I wonder.
I feel like this argument is the same argument is a fork, a three-pronged small knife,
Yeah.
and is a
What is that?
and is a sort of big one-pronged fork. I feel like that's the type of
Right.
argument this conversation gives me.
You ever seen them fancy? Laura works in fancy restaurants. You like a 3-pronged fork or a 4-pronged fork?
See, I grew up with 3-prong,
Mm-hmm.
but everywhere I work at's 4.
4.
Yeah.
I think the 4 is better grip.
The difference
Yeah.
is just shoveling more into your mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
Is
This
four-pronged?
is the better way to get it.
And
there.
I'm all about
better
that.
delivery
Is
mechanism.
four-pronged the poor man's fork?
I think 4-prong might be the poor man's fork.
Oh my God! Why don't
I feel
we
like them
why don't
3
we have
prongs are just
three-pronged
trying to be
forks?
fancy.
Okay, so lake versus pond. What is the difference between a lake and a pond? The definition. That's all, folks. The definition of a lake is a large body of water surrounded by land. Definition of a pond: a small body of water formed naturally or by hollowing or embanking.
So there is actually a definition.
But it's so vague.
That's very vague.
It's so vague. I feel like they left it that way just so they could have
Oh.
legal loopholes to call things lakes that really aren't.
Wait, I just had a realization. Is a lake one giant puddle?
That's what we're talking about.
So
dude.
I mean, a pond is just a big
when
puddle.
does a puddle become a
Is
pond?
the ocean
Right.
one giant puddle?
Kinda. Oh, I heard this week. Apparently, there is like a freshwater layer underneath the earth that is like twice the size of all the oceans at the surface combined.
I heard that too.
That's wild.
Really?
Where did you hear that? Because I heard the same thing.
I'll read Drudge Report, dude. I'm one of them guys that
I am
scrolls
too.
the headlines and reads what I want to.
I don't read what I want to though. I'm one of those guys that scrolls the headlines and reads what I don't
read
want.
the most negative one.
Yeah. If I'm
Some of the ones you just can't. You're like, oh God, now I gotta click on it. You know. I'm a sucker for clickbait.
Yeah, me too. I had a video get me earlier. Shout out to Jeremy and the Quartering. I don't know if you ever watched the Quartering or not, but he got me with his clickbait title.
I know this.
He's a
from
YouTuber.
somewhere. Yeah.
I thought that Katy Perry quit The Voice or whatever, but she didn't. But the way he worded it in his title was, I was like, oh man, Katy Perry insulted a guest and then she quit. No, the guest quit or the contestant quit, but Katy Perry didn't. She mom shamed her. Apparently was the
really?
thing. Yeah. The contestant quit to go back and raise her
You
family.
a voice guy?
No. I could care less.
Right.
No.
Just Katy Perry fan.
No, I could care less. It was just the
She's pretty
clickbait.
good.
The clickbait got me. That was
clickbait.
it. The clickbait.
That was
I
it.
feel like secretly you're a Katy Perry fan.
I'm not.
I don't believe you.
I don't.
That last Friday Night song's pretty good though. That's a banger.
it's great.
That's a banger.
What was
Straight
it?
banger.
Teenage Dream.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Yep. They're good.
I'm more of
I
a
had a friend of mine, literally though. I actually had a friend of mine that was such a big male guy.
yeah, yeah,
Remember when her movie came out?
yeah.
You remember that movie? I had a friend of mine. You know who you are if he ever watches this. I won't say your name, but you know who you are. This guy went to the premiere of the Katy Perry movie, like a matinee premiere on a Tuesday when he was off work, that he was in the theater by himself, and he actually had the guts to go in there
Wow.
by himself and watch it. I was like, dude, you are committed.
Good for him.
You are
That
real
is-
committed.
that is
For him.
Dude, more props to him.
Yeah.
No, I'm more of a Billie Eilish guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Love Billy.
yeah, yeah. I do.
Love
yeah.
Billy.
Katy Perry was cool. I don't
Yeah.
know. She's
Well, we're two different types there. I was telling
Yeah.
you the other day, and me and you have talked about this too. Billie Eilish moves pop music forward.
very
Yeah.
much so.
She's one of those changers.
She's avant-garde.
Yeah, it's very different, definitely. And I think that that's like a nice change away from the super poppiness that we've been getting.
Yeah,
It's,
I think so too. It's time like Lady Gaga did that when she burst onto the scene.
She did.
kind of moved it forward.
She did.
Every now and then you have those like there's pop musicians are a dime a dozen really, but every now and then you have one that comes along that really kind of pushes the ball down the road. I appreciate that.
You know what's funny? I saw a meme the other day. It was referring to Greta Van Fleet.
Ah,
Are you familiar with them?
yeah.
So, they sound just like Led Zeppelin.
right.
They sound a lot like Led Zeppelin. It was a hilarious meme because it was like people in Guitar Center say, they don't make music like they used to.
Right.
Kids actually make music like they used to. Posers.
right. That's true. That's true. There's a lot of good, man. There's a lot of good. I feel like there's a lot of good rock out there right now.
There is.
honestly.
There is. There is. I'm not the biggest Greta Van Fleet
No,
fan.
I'm not the biggest Led Zeppelin fan. I know that.
I love
Probably
me
get
some.
me shot, but
I love me some Led Zeppelin.
I think it's funny. I have a Led Zeppelin shirt, but I've literally never listened to Led Zeppelin.
I know
Never.
you Zoomer.
my boys do too.
Zoomer.
I mean, I wear the shirt to bed. That's about it. I don't ever wear it to school because I've never listened to the band.
My boys had a guy come up to him. Ryder was wearing an AC/DC shirt, and it's like, "Oh, you an AC/DC fan?" He's like, he didn't know what to say.
I don't know. Alternating. or
Name your
direct
favorite
current?
song.
See, I got a Casey Musgrave shirt on, but I can rep that.
I
and
love
got it
Nice.
Casey
so
Musgrave.
I
Nice.
love her.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah.
Golly, that's another one that's one of those that kind of alt country singer songwriter type stuff. She really moved that forward. I love
Yeah.
people like that.
Yep.
What a beautiful voice she has.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think of Bro Country? You
Like
fan?
Morgan Wallen and all that.
Mm-hmm. Josh Turner.
The guy who took my ex-wife's, me and her wedding photos, is the basis for Morgan Wallen, and I know him like pretty well actually.
Jeez.
I knew him before all this, but yeah,
Jeez.
he's going all over the world.
Wow.
I think they said Morgan Wallen had, I think it was like last week or something, had like, I think it was 3 or 4 of the top 10 songs on the Billboard all over, like worldwide.
Golly.
I mean, the guy is
He's
just
really just over the
blowing
last
up.
few years. Yeah. I'm like, who is this?
I've never listened to him. Never listened to
Yeah.
him.
Same.
I've heard
See
his
the
name.
world through some whiskey glasses. You've heard that song before, you know. Yeah.
No, man.
I don't want to see the truth. Probably making out on the couch right now.
I'm in band mode, so I'm only listening to set lists right now.
Right.
So I'm listening to the same like 20 songs over and over, trying to memorize them. So
The Ghost.
well, that and before I was in, I had a couple other projects that I tried to get going, and same. I
I
was
saw
just-
your vocal cover.
Oh, thanks.
Bravo,
Yeah, that's
dude.
great.
Thank you.
Bravo. Let's
I
go.
appreciate that. I was just rehearsing, and I record my practice. I record myself practicing so I can go back and watch it and critique myself.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm just gonna throw that out there and give a little teaser. My voice registry like rests right where his does though.
That makes it easy.
Yeah, it makes it way easier.
I remember over the years, every time you go to like sing something in the car or whatever, you can always kind of tell. You're like, oh, I can do all right at this.
Yeah.
I can do all right. This is in my vocal range.
You know what I feel like I'm going to do whenever I actually get a car? I don't ever sing. But I feel like I'm the type of person, if I'm playing a song at you and like, I'm going to like scream it and try to sing it best I can in my car with it's just me. I feel like I should do that now.
Hey, I miss singing in the car. I don't know. I listen to too many podcasts now.
All you do is listen to podcasts.
I know. I'm like addicted to podcasts.
I've had to stop listening to podcasts because we do this one.
Yeah.
And I don't want to talk about this. Yeah. I don't want to talk about the same stuff they do, and I don't want to podcast myself out either.
I know. I feel like you can repeat. I don't know. I try to avoid them when it's like I remember them and try to avoid talking about those subjects.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that more people hadn't talked about that you hadn't seen more people talking about the Trump indictment thing.
Yeah, that's
like I didn't even come up for us.
That's interesting.
Our ex-president.
It's been all over my feed today. Just every other post has been that.
Yeah.
I think the media's went back to that like Trump mania.
They have.
That they
well,
did
it makes them money. You get some clicks, man.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They get some clicks.
I don't know that whole thing. I'm so tired of hearing about it that like I'm not even following it. I'm just tired of hearing about it. And part of me honestly thinks whatever your feelings are on it, and I mean let the legal system sort it out. That's what it's there for. But whatever your thoughts are about it, part of me is like, man, you've just made another giant. All you're doing is feeding the beast by even bringing this stuff up or making it this big of a deal.
Yeah.
I almost feel like you could do it and not make it a big deal. It's like you're shining the spotlight back on him again, you know?
Exactly.
Well, there's a few things.
If their objective is to not put the spotlight on him, they're not doing a very good job.
No, their objective is very much to put the spotlight on him. And that's for monetary reasons. But the problem is, number one, they're making him a martyr. Which
That's
is
my
going
point.
to...
That's what I'm saying.
That is going to really bolster a lot of support for him. They're making him a martyr. Number two, they're using the legal system politically.
Yeah, they are.
And you got to be really careful when you do that because you set a precedent. So whatever you do politically to your opponents, they will do to you in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Hands down, they will.
Well, it just seems real ironic to me that it's like coming up right at the...
Yeah.
Right during primary season.
Yeah.
It's like they've waited all this time to get it at the right time.
You can't get any kind of objective, like, reporting on it whatsoever.
No, there's
none.
That's the reason I don't even read it. I don't even bother to read it because I'm not.
So basically the gist is they're conflating a misdemeanor charge with a felony charge. He's not going to be indicted of any felonies.
Right.
Whatsoever, because what they're accusing him of doing isn't felonious. So they're conflating charges to wrangle him into court so he won't run.
Right.
Is exactly what's going on.
That's what they're trying
to do. That's fine. That's all fine and well. But remember, whatever you do to your political opponents, you set a precedent.
Yeah, you do. That's a dangerous slope.
That is.
And listen, I don't think Trump should run again personally. I think he should do the opposite. Trump needs to go away in my book.
Think so?
I do. I really do.
I think know, man. It makes for great TV.
It does, but I'm not sure if I want to live that reality TV show. We were talking about that last night, and you said that, and you're right. I mean, I agree with that. I'm not sure if I want to live that reality TV show again.
And I'm sorry, but this is my life. This is our lives. You know, it's not just clickbait and views.
And all it was, for those 4 years, was Donald Trump. It's like.
Hysteria.
It was hysteria.
Oh, yeah.
It was just craziness. And I mean, I told her the same thing last night. It's like I can separate the good and the bad from Donald Trump. I can tell you what I liked about his tenure. That for that matter, I can tell you what I liked about Barack Obama and what I didn't like about Barack Obama. But I don't know. there's a certain point at which it just becomes so much of a circus that it's not all his doing either. I think the media feeds it, and then he takes it and just runs it with the whole, PR. No PR is bad PR. That's his whole motto,
Yeah,
I just wish we could have just a moral, good. Not that any politician is moral necessarily, but I wish we could have an inspiring figure in office.
There are moral politicians, but none of them at that level. It's very few and far between at that level.
And again, it's a politician.
Right.
You know?
Well, I think by virtue of if you get to that level, you're kind of bought and paid for. I feel like
you are. And here's the thing, though: Trump wasn't.
I know.
That's the thing. Trump wasn't. He already had all the money. And that's why, love him or hate him, that's why he garnered such the movement that he did, because he wasn't. And it's so bizarre. I mean, the Trump phenomenon was so bizarre to begin with, because you've got a billionaire that is all of a sudden the voice of the downtrodden. What is that all about?
I don't know. None of that makes any sense.
None of it makes any sense. But that was the reality.
Yeah.
He was the voice. He came in with this anti-establishment message. He came in, it's a broken political system. They're after you. I'm just in the way. His whole message. And, that really spoke to such a massive, massive swath of the population. And the Democrats really are missing an opportunity here by not addressing that swath of the population, because apparently it's massive, and it's
I think it is too.
I think it's half the voting bloc.
Well, I think the Democrats sort of it's like they abandoned
the working class.
The working class.
Yep.
And that's what I keep trying to tell. It's like, if you want to learn a lesson how to not make this happen again, because I can tell you, we're around. This is Trump.
This is Trump
territory.
This is MAGA country, boy.
I can tell you, if you want to not have Trump, MAGA country. But if you want to have this, tell me if I'm wrong here, but if you don't want to have this happen again, you have to gain back that working class. I've said for the longest time, it's, I remember in the 90s when NAFTA and CAFTA were put in, and all these jobs right up here, just right next to where we're living, they left.
Yep.
All of a sudden, the kids that were wearing the Abercrombies and Fitches and the American Eagles went to wearing hand-me-down shoes and hand-me-down clothes. I remember that. That actually happened.
Yep.
Like, there was a mass exodus. And you remember this.
Yeah.
This was right around the time when you moved here.
Yeah.
You remember how things changed in that?
Quickly.
Very quickly.
Instead of Abercrombie, it's like, I guess I'll just go with American Eagle.
Right. That's true. Yeah, you were.
Oh, no.
No.
Not even that. Just
Janko.
But people
go down to Goodwill.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It was terrible, and a lot of people lost their jobs, and those people have been screaming and reaching out for a political home since then.
Yep, they have.
And it wasn't until Donald Trump came around that he spoke to that.
Yeah,
and they were like, "Hell yeah, dude!
Yep.
This is what we're talking about. This is what been." And they tried. They tried with the Tea Party.
Yep. Nothing. Everybody laughed at the Tea Party like it was some joke. The Libertarian movement, same deal.
Same deal. And
I love Ron Paul.
I do too.
Love Ron Paul.
I do too.
An amazing man.
I do too. Man. I was a Ron Paul voter.
Me too, man. Me too.
But I think it was just one of those things. It was just something sitting there. It was low hanging fruit, and he took it and ran with it. And he spoke that message, and regardless of whether I think, to the extent of which somebody like Donald Trump can be sincere, I think maybe there is some sincere parts of him that feel that way, but it's just turned into a
circus.
Mm-hmm. And I just think we'd be better off without it. I think I prefer a more intellectually measured thing.
There's better people coming up behind him that can do the task at hand.
I think so.
Logically and for the people instead of for personal gain.
I agree. I told her.
I don't think DeSantis is the guy, though.
I think he is, and I told her this last night. I think he is if he picks the right running mate. If he was to pick Tulsi Gabbard, I'd be on board.
Oh, no, I'm all about some Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah.
I love Tulsi.
Love her.
Love Tulsi. I don't know, man. I see DeSantis. I think he's going to be right in there with the rest of them, establishment politician.
You think so?
Yep.
You really think so?
I do. I do. I think so. I think he's going to be right in there with the Obamas, the Bushes,
Yes,
the
the
Clintons.
question is, who do the Democrats have to run? And I don't want to get this. We're only talking about this because our ex-president got indicted today.
Right.
We have to talk politics. I don't want to be a political show necessarily, but I feel like we have to talk about it.
No,
right?
but I mean, this is just where the conversation.
This is where the
went.
conversation
Current
went, and
events.
it's current
Yeah.
events.
Yeah.
But who do the Democrats run if they don't? I just can't see them running Joe Biden. I mean, the guy is just
Dude, he's out to lunch.
I just
out to
don't know
lunch.
where he's at,
He's
and
going to rerun, though.
I think he is too.
Yeah.
I think he's sincerely going to do
I
it.
do
I mean,
too.
he said he's going to do it. So I mean, what do they do to get him? I mean, and who else do they put up? I don't know who they got.
I'm surprised they haven't turned on him already. I really thought
Right.
the establishment would just be like, okay.
Yeah.
I really thought that was going to happen. There has been 2 or 3 instances where I was like, okay, this is it. This is where they turn on him. And the media started to, but they reeled it back in. And I don't know.
Or someone made the media reel it back.
Yeah. Yep.
Behind
That's
the
true.
scenes.
Yep.
That's true.
Yep. I don't know.
I wonder about maybe that Pete Buttigieg guy. Was he the transportation secretary? But
Yep.
now with this whole Ohio train spill, East Palestine or whatever,
Yeah.
like he's got taken out to lunch and made to look like an
There
incompetent person. And
There was gaffes even before that. Have you seen the video of him, like, where they filmed him riding his bike to work, and then he put it in the back of this giant SUV and got in it and drove the rest of the way? And I was like, dude, for real? Is nothing real? Is nothing real anymore? Yeah. He's riding his little bicycle, and he stops and then gets in this giant Chevy Suburban.
yeah,
Drives
just
it the
like-
rest of the way.
that's pretty bad, dude. That's
Dude,
pretty
I
bad.
know. I was like, man, nothing is real.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I worry about 2024, the election, though. I really do. I do worry about it. I don't want. I would rather it not to turn into a tinderbox again.
Oh, it's going to.
I know, and
is.
I'm pretty sure it's going.
It's going
Yeah.
to. I mean, I've just accepted it, and I don't know. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe the system needs to implode.
Maybe.
It's going to
Yeah.
suck, and it's going to hurt. I mean, like you're saying, this is our lives. This is our livelihood.
Yeah.
But I mean, how much longer can this go? All this is 70 plus years of political corruption coming to a head. That's what every bit of this is, really, when you
Right.
boil it down to brass tacks.
So yeah, I definitely agree with that. I for sure agree with that. I almost wondered why. I was surprised. Were you surprised by the midterm election result?
No, not really.
Really?
No. I thought the Republicans got way too arrogant and they thought they had it in the bag, and I was like, "Yep, that's not going to happen." And
You really think so?
Mhm.
I wonder how much that had to do with like the Roe v. Wade overturning and all that.
that's a good question. I think
mean,
a lot of it did have to do with that.
I do think there's a lot of, man, abortion seems to be one of those things that like I just don't understand. Like I really do think. The longer I think about this problem, the more I think that we're being sold a bag of goods when it comes to that there is
Yep.
no compromise
Yep.
on that issue. And meanwhile, I didn't really think about that until somebody pointed me and said that, well, Europe's figured this out.
Mm-hmm.
And they have.
Yeah.
Like there's a middle ground issue. Like there's some reasonable boundaries for, abortion services to be performed in a certain thing. I don't know. Like, seems to me like abortion is a really hot button issue. I did not
is.
expect that though.
Definitely.
I thought Roe v. Wade was settled precedent. I really did not think they were going to overturn it.
The
Yeah,
fact
I
that
didn't either.
here's the thing though, and this is why I hate the media, because really overturning Roe v. Wade did nothing. It did
Right.
nothing.
It's because the states already had
The
their
states
own
already have their
individual-
own laws.
Right.
And
But at least I guess it guaranteed it as a blanket sort of thing, right?
I mean, in theory, but it was almost like, what's the word I'm looking for? Symbolic, because it really, the states had their own laws on abortion.
Right.
All the Supreme Court said was it's not a federal government issue; it's a states' rights issue. The states need to decide.
Right.
That's it. And I'm totally on board with that. I think less federal government in our lives, the better.
I think so too.
The states,
But what you say, you saw some states just go to an absolute extreme. It's like,
yeah,
which I don't necessarily agree with that either.
Well, that's where we're at in the society. Everything is extreme now. It's all knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah, definitely. And it also comes down to like just the time that we're living in. There's so many more people looking at like your political stance and is the biggest deal. Think about when we were kids growing up. We just talked about this last night. It wasn't this big of a deal.
No,
and now
yeah.
and even like, you have like kids ask you, who'd you vote for?
Right.
Man, no one asked that back then.
I know. It was almost like illegal to ask that.
When did political positions become our entire identity? When did that happen? I feel like that was somewhere around 2014 to 2016 is when that really started to happen.
Yeah, I think so.
It's been snowballing since then.
Yeah,
I feel like it's just getting worse.
And it's like you can't have a personality outside of your political opinions.
Yeah, or people decide on whether they want to be friends with you based on your political opinion.
They do. They do.
true.
That's insane. That is the idea that you can't be friends with someone you disagree with is completely bonkers to me.
Yeah.
Completely bonkers.
We've said that from the beginning. That we wanted that to be one of them.
Yes.
The main things. Like I don't know. I know. I'll be honest with you. I can name you on probably two fingers the people that I would say I agree with maybe 90% of their political views.
Mm-hmm.
I disagree with everybody on a lot of different things. Are nuanced. It's like we were talking about earlier. Things are nuanced. You know, like even if you are cut from the same political cloth that I am, the chances of me agreeing with you on anything are slim to none. Or agreeing with you on everything, rather, are slim to none.
Yep.
You know,
Rebecca, I do agree with you. There, it should be between a patient and the doctor. I'm speaking legally. The federal government shouldn't have any say in the matter whatsoever, one way or the other.
Yeah,
that was my point.
Yeah.
States wants to have if the states want to have laws on it, then that's up to the state legislator. They can vote. The population can decide if they want it or not. But I don't think the federal government has any say in the matter.
Yeah.
And that's what blew my mind about the whole thing, because I was sitting back watching this all, and all I've heard for years was that, the federal government needs to get, or the government needs to get its hands off my uterus. Okay, I'm on board with that. Well, they did. And then everyone went nuts.
That's a great point. I hadn't really thought about it that way, to be honest. I knew that it largely was a symbolic thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd never really considered it. Yeah, you're exactly right. They kind of just took their hand out of
it.
They
did. That's exactly what they did.
But I wonder if was there any protection in that? Like, did it establish it as a right on the federal level? And they repealed that.
No, to establish it as a right, they would have to amend the Constitution.
Yeah, that's true.
Which they could do.
Yeah.
They could do that. I mean, I don't know why they don't.
That's crazy.
And I've heard some, and I'm not going to get into the nuts and bolts of this because I don't necessarily understand it because I'm not a lawyer. But I've heard a lot of the legal precedent that was set by Roe v. Wade was based on bad law too. And if they wanted to pass some kind of legislation through the Supreme Court guaranteeing it, they need to do something separate other than Roe v. Wade.
Stronger than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that about a lot of different. There's a lot of cases that set precedent that are kind of just garbage decisions in a lot of ways. I've had several people tell me that. I don't know,
Jerry. I know I'm starting to sound like a libertarian. I know it. I mean, to some degree, I do think taxation is theft. However, I do like driving on roads.
Boy, I would like to have some health care, though.
Yeah, right.
I'd like to have me some health care.
Yep.
I would love it.
That was one thing. Good grief, man. What are we doing with that? Or when are we going to revisit that nightmare again?
Well, that's interesting, and that's something I can see both sides of the argument on. And the recent events, COVID really opened my eyes to a lot of stuff and the follies of our healthcare system.
Yeah.
Not so much in, and this is where I think really we could bridge a gap between Team Red and Team Blue on this issue. Because you had Team Red screaming, corruption about the
Vaccines.
I hate to say the word on YouTube because I know how the algorithms work, but the shots.
Mhm.
You have one team.
We love you, YouTube. Don't take us down, please.
They probably will.
Love you, YouTube.
I mean, we talked about 9/11 and got taken down, and here we're trudging into some like crazy controversy.
Yeah. Maybe they won't recognize it because of my redneck accent.
This is where I really think we could have bridged the gap between Team Red and Team Blue, because largely the way that was handled was foobarred from the get-go. And you see pharmaceutical companies using tax dollars, and I'll specifically call them out on this, Pfizer and Moderna, using tax dollars to do R&D, research, develop, manufacture a drug. Then the government subsidizes the cost of that drug and pays for all the doses of that drug.
And then basically,
dude,
soft-handedly makes everybody get it.
Yeah, exactly. It makes everybody buy a product.
Right.
I'm not looking at this from a medical standpoint. I'm looking at this from a buy a product.
Right.
If that's not crony capitalism, I don't know what is.
Right. So where's the common ground there?
Well, the right was screaming the whole time, I'm not putting that in my body. I'm not putting that in my body. Okay.
Right.
Well, I had a really good train of thought. Where did it go?
Well, it's all right. I get lost in the weeds, too.
I know, but, well, that's the beauty of doing these live is you get lost in the weeds. But the common ground should be that, okay, I'm back on track now. So going back so far as to like the Occupy movement, that was largely a Team Blue kind of thing. Okay, the bailouts of Wall Street. That was one thing that I think really kind of bridged a gap between Team Red and Team Blue. No one was for bailing out all these big banks.
Right.
Well, the whole time, you've got Team Blue screaming about crony capitalism bad. Okay, well, here is a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
Both parties, both sides should see that for what it is, as just corrupt.
Right.
And be like, no, we shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be doing that.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, they're getting record profits
Right.
from our tax money.
And it's a great way to stay in shape.
It is. Sorry, I'm not extremely articulate.
No. I understand exactly where you're coming
Okay.
from. I think there's a lot of common ground when it comes to the health. I've said for the longest time, even when it came to Obamacare, I'm fine with single-payer health care. I'm fine with it so long as we try the free market all of the free market options first. If we go down those lines, but what we did was with...
Why can't we have both?
I think we could.
Why can't we have an income-based, single-payer healthcare system working side by side with a free market-based healthcare system that provides insurance, but you get... you're going to have to do some regulation. There's going to have to be some regulation in the markets. I don't think it's necessarily a good thing for medical innovation to be tied to profits.
Right.
Because that can lead to some really bad things.
Right.
But with regulation, I see why you couldn't have both.
Yeah, but I think the only reason you got a lot of the corruption in the system now, the reason a Band-Aid costs $6.50 at the hospital is because you got all these people that are going in there and just getting free health care and never paying their bills. So then the government has to basically they're paying for it anyway.
And that's what happened with my mom's business. That's why she had to shut down because of Obamacare. No one was paying.
Yeah.
And you have to render them health care services, then you don't get paid for them. And so what you do is instead of, at that point, especially at hospitals, instead of charging a reasonable rate for a Band-Aid or a service or a treatment or whatever, you have to make it cost this exorbitant amount to cover all the people that aren't paying.
Right.
And then they get that money. They probably get part of that money back from the government and their tax breaks and stuff based on loss, I'm sure. But
I think a good place to start would be hospitals shouldn't be for profit. They should all be nonprofit organizations. That should be a law.
Well, but what about like research hospitals? What do you do? This is why this is a complex
It is a complex issue. It's not black and white.
Because, I mean, we wouldn't have Duke Medical Center if they weren't making profit off of it, for sure.
Well, I mean, that's state supported. Duke. I mean, that's tied in with Duke University,
Right. I guess you're right.
and research hospitals are largely state supported.
I guess they are. That's why we need to have Ralph. He's an expert at all that stuff too.
And I don't know, Duke may actually be a nonprofit. Let me look that up. I know Mission
But yeah,
used to be.
Yeah, your mom got slapped by the.
What happened there?
So
Go into that.
yeah, she was in the Whitson building. Patty knows her.
Love you, buddy.
She had her business there for years, and then Obamacare came into play, and people stopped paying because they didn't have to. So, what are you gonna do?
Wow.
Everyone's like, Patty, we love you so much. We love the care that you give and everything. She's like, well, if you want me to stay open, you got to pay. You know.
You gotta pay.
Right.
And they just didn't pay. So.
And you can't. There was no at the time. There was no recourse available to her
No.
to get that money back.
Duke Health is a nonprofit.
It's a nonprofit.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Is that is that just the actual hospital? Or is that the research?
That's
That's the whole organization.
the
as a
whole
whole?
organization.
Wow.
Yeah. So largely those.
But also, like, Mission was supposedly a nonprofit as well.
Mission was.
Yeah, supposedly, but like they were paying. I mean, that was I was just happened to be sort of intimately involved in all that. So a lot of friends and stuff at the time that worked there when it was right before it got bought by HSA.
And they're
there
a
was-
for-profit.
They are a for-profit, yes. But man, there were some people getting their pockets lined out of that whole deal. That's a lot of the
Yep.
way nonprofits, unfortunately, I think a lot of them work.
They do.
Seems
they
to
do.
be making a lot of salary for a nonprofit.
And this is where I don't sound like a libertarian.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we need some pretty heavy regulation. People need to be held accountable when they're, well, there needs to be regulation first, and then hold them accountable when they engage in corruption, fiduciary corruption.
You would hope so.
You would hope so. And no, Jerry, I'm not wearing the Sir shirt inside out. Jerry gives me so much crap. Because I guess for a while, every time we did an episode, for some reason, I just happened to be wearing a Sir Guitars shirt. They're a boutique small builder company that make really high-end instruments. And
I wore that Lyrics to Go shirt a couple times. Shout out the Land's Word. I love that
He is
shirt.
great. Yeah.
I like that guy too.
shout out to Sir. They can send me a guitar. That'd be great.
You already got enough guitars, John.
No, man, I need a Sir. I don't have a Sir.
Oh, you don't have one?
I do not. No.
Oh, that might be the one thing the one guitar you don't have.
I don't have a Sir. And I wear their shirts. So, Sir, send me a guitar. You could be our next sponsor.
I need a dumpster.
That's a great shirt.
I need dumpster.
You need dumpster.
Yeah, I need something
That
to
sounds
put
like
the
something
dumpster
Brick
fire
Tamlin,
out.
Brick Tamlin would say.
Yeah, it does. That's what I was thinking
I
too.
need dumpster.
So no, Jerry, I'm not wearing the Sir shirt inside out. Oh man, this so much to talk about because it
God dang, dude.
healthcare. That's a big one.
Mhm.
I see both sides to that argument. I really do.
I do too.
And I lean more towards it's funny. As the older I get, the more I'm like, maybe there's somewhere between Canada's system or no, not Canada's system, the UK system
Mhm.
and our system.
I think there's going to have to be because as it wasn't sustainable, and as it is now, it's not sustainable. And single payer is not going to be sustainable in America.
No,
It's got to be a hybrid. But of course, you can't get anything done when nobody can agree on anything and get anything
Right.
done. I mean, we're talking. Do you realize the last significant bipartisan legislation that was ever passed in this country was welfare reform in 1996 with Newt Gingrich and Bill Clinton?
You know what's funny? President Trump, when he was in office, passed a prison reform, and I would have largely thought that would have been bipartisan, but it was not
just because he was such
he
a
had his
polarizing-
name on
yeah,
it.
Yeah,
That's something
that was the whole Kim Kardashian thing.
Yeah.
right? Go
Oh,
Kim.
yeah.
Remember that? Kim and Kanye in the White House. What a crazy.
Kanye's lost it, dude.
Whoa.
He is
Like,
Kanye
quick.
has
Went-
gone bonkers.
He went
nuclear.
He just went.
He's
Yeah.
He went
lost
somewhere.
He's like, if I'm gonna go
marbles.
crazy, I'm gonna go all for it.
He did.
Like-
I mean, when you do something, go all out, right? Go big or
I
go
guess, but dang,
I
man,
think-
leave Hitler out of it or
I
something,
think
you know?
he's insane at this point. He has lost his mind.
When you're trying to justify Nazis or something, I don't know.
I don't know that he even really was. I know he went on, he went on Tim Pool, and that's when I kind of stopped watching Tim Pool, because Tim Pool was like, leading up to that, I was like, kind of seeing Tim Pool's more and more of a grifter.
Right.
But when he got Yee and Milo and them guys on there, and they all came on the show,
Remember Milo? Boy, he left. didn't
dude, God, Milo.
You remember him, Milo Yiannopoulos? You remember him? Very far right, like grifter type, in
Yeah.
your face, gay guy.
Yeah,
He was,
Really?
blonde, blue eyed.
he was a professional provocateur, as he called himself.
Provocateur.
He was, yeah. So he was saying he was going to be Yee's campaign manager when he ran for president. Like, I know, dude. I
Do
know.
you remember when he was going around doing all those tours, like the
Yeah.
horrible things he was saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, when he was on Tim Pool.
God.
But I still think, even despite, the wacky, insane things Kanye says, you can't really get rid of a person that's that famous.
No, there's a certain level of fame that you achieve that I think Kanye's achieved by being involved with the Kardashians and being legitimately
Adidas.
one of the
Yeah.
the most creative artists that we've had, music artists that we've had in the past 20 years.
Yeah. I mean, full disclosure, I despise his music.
I'm not a giant
Not a fan.
I'm not a huge hip hop fan, but when I listen to that, I can see it for what it is. It's one of those things.
But
you know?
I feel like he's not just famous. He is. People don't realize how massive, I think,
Yeah.
genuinely he is.
Well, and
like-
people are going to be banging Kanye whether you like it or not.
Another example of person you can't get rid of, is Billie Eilish. So big to where you can't.
I don't
stomp
think
them
she's
out.
that big. Mm-mm. She's not Kanye big.
Yeah, even my mom and dad have heard of Kanye. I
Right.
don't know if they've heard of Billie Eilish.
I don't think she's that big yet.
She may reach
She's
that point. I think.
Close. I
She-
feel like
oh, yeah.
She's big.
close.
I mean,
She's
for
big.
sure. I think you can get uncancelable, though.
Yeah.
I mean, Rogan
is.
Yeah.
Jack Black.
You just have to not care. That's how you don't get canceled. You just tell them to F off.
You know who
That's all you
else
have to
can
do.
cancel?
That's it,
Jack
yeah.
Black. I don't think you can cancel Jack Black.
I mean,
You wouldn't want to cancel Jack Black because he's cool, dude. Nacho.
yeah,
love that
you
movie.
just have to not care.
Yeah, I think you're right, though. But I think that whole cancel culture, me and Laura have talked a lot about this. I think cancel culture and a lot of this stuff is so intertwined that I think all of it's going to go, because the baby's going to go out with the bathwater, I think.
Yeah, I
think so,
feel like
too.
it's on the way out for sure.
I hope
hate
so.
Definitely
that-
from what we saw from even a year ago.
Mhm.
You know,
I think you're right. I think there's this PC, can't say anything, can't everything. There's all these mental gymnastics that you got to do to have a conversation with somebody and identify who they are and all this stuff. It's just,
I hate that my generation pushes this so heavily. It's
Well,
so dumb.
I don't even know that it's your generation that's pushing it. No, I think your generation's just bought into it because it's what's cool at the time or what's
Yeah.
perceived to be.
I mean, the kids follow what the adults do. So,
true.
and why are the adults doing it? First of all, it's so.
Well, and everything
Immature.
Then everything changes when you get into your 20s, and
It
you have to
does.
start paying your own bills and
Yep.
stuff. Some of that stuff becomes much less important.
Right.
It's easy to have a giant, knee-jerk political opinion when, you're not having to go to work and pay bills.
It's easy to have strong political opinions like this when you're not having to worry about where your meal's going to come from, where your, what is the saying?
we got a lot of first world problems.
We do. We have a lot of first world problems. We absolutely do. We
Don't you
absolutely
think?
do.
huh?
I think everything, all this is first world problems. Like
Yeah.
sitting, we've created a whole industry out of talking about this and arguing about it and all this other stuff.
I'm just so sick and tired of the finger pointing.
Yeah.
I'm so over it.
Yep.
And people shoving things in my face. Like, I get it. I respect you, but don't shove it in my face.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, Jerry, you're right. Bill Burr. George Carlin was another. Like, comedy. What's comedy become? I mean, you that's how these comedians like Bill Burr and George Carlin in the past, you know, before he passed away, rest in peace, George Carlin, you were amazing. They just didn't care.
No.
They said something and someone got offended or whatever. They were just like,
Okay.
cool.
Yeah,
Well, that's the
I
essence.
just listened to this on a podcast today, and someone famous came up to, I forgot what comedian it was, after the show and confronted him, like, because he felt like one of the jokes was about him personally, and it wasn't. It was just general. And people are taking comedy so seriously. It's like, dude, it's comedy.
Right.
Like,
That is
chill
the
out.
essence of comedy. It's supposed to be offensive.
I mean, good comedy, yeah. It's offensive. It is.
I mean, I think it's so odd. I mean, it's like comedians have become the social spokespeople of our time.
Right. Haven't they always been?
Well, I mean, they
though?
have always been. Yes, that's that profession lends itself to that, but never more so than they are now. I feel like.
I feel like being a professional comic is very hard to do. It's
Oh.
a really hard job.
Sure.
I would,
But when it's done right, oh, it's so good.
and it's such a refining process. I think Rogan talks about that crap ad nauseum to the point where I'm like, oh God, gotta have that conversation again. But
Yeah.
but
I
he's
can't-
right. I mean, he's
I
right.
know.
They're absolutely right. You know.
I can't watch this UFC stuff either because I don't care.
I know.
I'm
I don't
not-
often. I watch it a little bit, but not a lot. But it's just so weird to me that these people are at the forefront, at the cutting edge
Yeah.
of like societal evolution.
Yep.
Is comedians, and quite honestly, I hope it stays that way.
I do
Because I
too.
kind of like. I'd rather those people be where the thought is going on, because the fact of the matter is, the comedy space now is the only place where you can have free thought and
Yep.
free think. Because you almost have to do it under the. It's like.
And HollerCast.
Never mind. Yeah, and HollerCast.
And HollerCast. I am a free
Exactly.
speech absolutist.
Yeah.
Free speech absolutist. Who's your favorite comedian?
Right now,
Segura.
Segura's your favorite?
Oh, I know you like him too.
I like
Segura.
Segura.
Bill Burr
I was gonna
is
ask you
just
next.
Classic.
I love Bill Burr.
I love Bill Burr.
Yep.
I love Santino.
Yes,
Yeah.
Andrew Santino. I
And-
like him.
I've been listening to a lot of Chris.
DeStefano.
Yes, lately.
Chrissy D.
His dad stories are.
Yeah, I like him a lot
Hilarious.
too. He's got a new show on Vice that's about it's like this retro show or something.
Yeah?
Like super retro hour or something like that. I can't remember what it's called, but it's pretty good. I watched the episode of that the other day. It's pretty good. But I'd say right now, I love Theo Von. I laugh at him so much. He's just so hysterical. That kind of absurd comedy is really funny to me. But of course, Dave Chappelle. He's the
yeah.
GOAT.
Yeah.
And that's a cheap choice, but I love Dave Chappelle. You just can't, when you listen to him, you're just like, okay, he's the one that makes it an art form for me. You know?
Yeah.
Not a lot of comedians make me laugh, but one that did was a guy named Randy Feltface. It's an Australian ventriloquist that uses a purple puppet.
I've seen this guy. Yes. Somebody else showed me this.
Watched one of his entire shows. I was crying from laughing.
Oh, yeah. It's funny. It's funny. He's funny.
Hilarious.
A lot of good comedy coming out of A lot of good comedies always come out of Australia, actually. What's that guy that they had on? The Segura and Christina had on, big tattooed guy. Was talking about being bisexual or whatever. Remember?
Jason Ellis?
Jason Ellis.
Love
Yes.
Jason Ellis.
I love Jason
He's
Ellis.
new to comedy, too.
Yeah.
He's a
Yeah.
big vert skateboarder.
Yeah, he's like one of those old school kind of like Jackass
Yeah, okay,
types
okay,
or
gotcha.
whatever. Yeah, he's super funny and super awkward. Like, I love that
He's
type of
hilarious.
stuff. Yeah, he really is funny.
I've been listening to a lot of Andrew Schultz lately.
Yeah,
He is so funny.
I like Andrew
I love
Schultz.
listening to him roast the audience.
Yeah.
It's great.
There's only thing that bothers me about Schultz is his laugh. And I
Yeah,
don't know what. Yeah, like sometimes I'm like, oh man,
I know.
It's just
I don't
not
think I've
my
heard
thing. It's just not my thing.
His
but-
laugh is
Yeah.
it is an acquired taste. I'll give you that. His laugh's not my thing, but dude, his comedy is amazing.
Yeah, he is funny.
He is
really
so
funny. Really, really funny.
Rebecca says, "Remember how we used to watch Bill Cosby himself on the band bus? Yeah, now he's in jail.
Yeah.
Is he still in jail or is he out? I feel like he's out.
It's Rebecca Mall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel like he's out of jail. Is he still in jail?
No, I think he's still in, baby.
He's in.
in jail with the jail pudding.
Man, Bill Cosby as himself is so funny, though. I
I
watched part of
know.
it the other night.
I
I mean,
know.
he
Used
is
to watch him,
just
yeah.
brilliant. The way he uses, nobody has ever used a microphone
Right.
the way Bill Cosby used a microphone to make all those like,
Yeah.
you know, doing all that type of stuff. It's so funny to me. And he's talking about the whistling Cosbys or whatever. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
so funny, dude. So funny.
Oh, Cosby. Yeah, it turns out he's
Yeah, not a good guy.
no.
He had
Not a
a, he had a
good guy.
he had a fall from grace harder than R. Kelly.
He really did. Well, and he was like this wholesome comedian too. Like that was his whole shtick.
Right.
So
He was like the antithesis to like Richard Pryor and all that.
Right.
Big clean guy, you know.
Yeah.
And then he come out as the one
That's
dirty in the end.
I feel like it's always those ones you never think
I know.
that are like, whoa.
But I think comedians, you know,
Yeah, I agree with that.
and I've heard a lot of those guys say, and I would agree with that. A lot of the funniest people I've ever met have been the most awkward people I've ever met, or
Sure.
the people that crave attention. You know what I mean? I think that a lot of them would admit that. So I think that
Yeah.
there's if you're not careful there, you can get really carried away. I think just by virtue
Oh,
of your
yeah.
personality, the kind of personality that will become a comedian. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I don't know that I could do that. Like, I mean, I would be fun. But I don't have personality to it. But I would love to try.
Oh, I would try it just so to have the experience.
I
of
don't have
trying
the speaking capabilities to do that. I don't
it. I
think.
think you do.
I don't
man.
know.
I think you
I feel like I could pull it off. I don't know if that's me tooting my own horn, but I think I could.
You're good at tooting your own horn.
What? I know what my skills are.
Beep, beep. You know?
I was watching a little Mitch Hedberg earlier today.
Oh,
Man,
Mitch
it's
Hedberg.
So funny, dude.
Mitch Hedberg.
That like just one right after the other.
May he
like,
rest in
ironic
peace.
comedy.
Yeah.
So he's like, I feel like pancakes or waffles are just pancakes with syrup holders. It's like, we're gonna find this one square, and if that one fills up, just move to the next one.
I love his bit about dreams. It's like, dreams are so weird. It's like, oh, I forget. The punchline was like, yeah, now I'm building a go-kart with my ex-landlord. And he's like, I used to do drugs. I still do, but I used to too.
Stuff like that, and this is one right
Yeah,
after
yeah.
the other, just in rapid
One-liners.
succession. Yeah, one-liners.
You ever listen to Stephen Wright?
A little bit, yeah.
He's the super dry. He's a one-liner too, just like Mitch Hedberg. But snakes don't have arms. That's why they don't wear vests. Every now and again, I'd like to go outside and look up and smile for a satellite picture. Went to the hardware store the other day and bought some used batteries, but they weren't included. And I also got some used paint. It was in the shape of a house. Stuff like that.
Stuff like that, just deadpan.
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. He was the guy on the couch in the movie Half Baked.
Oh, that's
That
right.
guy. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, leave it to Chappelle to
Makes
Yeah.
sense
Sneak
why
a
they
little-
put him in there. Yeah.
sneak a
Right.
little thing like that in there.
Stephen Wright smoked weed? No. And it all comes first full circle. We're back to weed now.
Right. There we go. Boom.
Man, we should legalize it in North Carolina. I still think
Dude,
it's
there
odd
is
that
I don't know who is putting in that menu you were talking about. I believe, and I may be wrong, so I may stand corrected on this, but it appears as if that new tobacco shop
Yeah.
out there in Grassy Creek has got some wicked looking bongs going on that back shelf, and I am wondering.
Pops. They're pops. You can't say. Well, I don't know. You could probably say it on the air, but going into the store, you have to ask. For
Yeah,
that pipe.
yeah, that's the water pipes.
I haven't
water
been in there
pipe.
yet.
Yeah, I'm wondering how that's going to go over, and not that that's never been done here, but just not on that scale, that visible.
With the big
You know what I
flashing
mean?
lights.
Like,
Did you see the chat?
yes, I did.
You did turn into Jack Black, man.
Swamp Dog, what's up, dude?
When did that happen? When did that transformation happen?
Oh, I've had him as my email picture on my Gmail account for probably since like 2006.
Really?
Dead serious.
That's
I actually got. Oh, this is a story. On the plane on the way to Australia one time, I got a stewardess asked me if I was Jack Black. That is no joke.
Dude,
That is
you
a true
should
story.
have hammered that.
That
up.
is a true story.
Man.
I would have taken that and just
That is
ran.
hilarious.
Oh,
with
yeah.
it.
I would-
Yeah, well, it caught me off guard so much. I was like, I don't even remember what I said, but I didn't. I caught to it, and I absolutely should have.
How'd you know? You blew my cover. Oh man.
I mean, I feel like if someone was like, take a first glance, like, wait a minute, is Jack Black? I know I probably would have if I was on that plane. I took like a double glance and didn't take a second to look at you.
Oh,
I don't-
flower pop.
I don't know if that's insulting you or not. I mean,
Dude.
comparing you to a legend like Jack Black.
Do you think everybody has a doppelganger?
Oh yeah.
I know I do. He goes to my school.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
What's his name?
His name's JJ.
Yeah,
Josh.
JJ.
And Dakota.
JJ
Yeah.
looks a lot
Oh.
like him.
That's true. You and Dakota do bear resemblance.
My,
to one another.
before Dakota left the high school, myself, Dakota, and JJ literally all looked the same. You know, one time, the lunch ladies got me and JJ confused. I have bright orange hair, and JJ has, like, short black hair. I don't know
Well-
how you get that confused.
You used to have short black hair.
Yeah, and then I don't know. I went through a phase.
The lunch ladies looked a lot nicer the last time I was at the high school than we were there. We had some real.
I've not seen a lunch lady at the high school since I was there.
Same.
I have no idea who the lunch ladies are.
I went in there one day for something. I can't remember what
I feel like that's a gendered term that has been gotten rid of too. Is that still a thing? Like, can we still
A
call
lunch
them lunch
person?
ladies?
Person?
Is it a lunch person? A person
It
of
sounds
lunch?
like a person that's lunching, like not the person serving.
Well, I mean, the lunch ladies there, or they look to be in their, like, 50s or 60s, so... I don't know.
Well, we had a couple. They was well over retirement age. I felt like
Wait, at Harris or Mitchell?
both.
Probably.
I mean, they were lovely ladies, but
I don't remember the lunch ladies I had at Harris. I don't remember Harris.
that was one thing during Barack Obama, man. We were having like filet mignon at lunch and stuff. Remember that?
No.
Oh, Michelle Obama had it done up. It was like,
Run the camera switcher, Noah.
What do you mean? That's what I'm doing.
it was, they'd be having like duck liver and truffles and stuff out there.
What?
Oh, it was crazy that my kids were eating under Obama. It was wild. It was good.
I figured she'd have like salad and veggies.
Do you not remember that? Oh, dude.
No.
I mean, they stepped up their game there for a while, and then now it's back to just absolute.
Well, I'm trying to think.
Slop.
Noah, you were
Mystery meat.
Mystery meat.
you were
Where
at
we
Bethel
actually had
then.
that.
Yeah.
Noah was at a
During
private.
when?
Noah was in a private school.
Private school.
Yeah, he was at
Yeah.
Bethel during Obama's tenure.
Now, it may have been complete bullcrap. They may have just been changing the names and
They
make it
probably
sound better.
did.
You know,
But I mean, when I read that list, I was like, man, they're eating better than I am.
You know, I forget I was alive when Obama was president.
Yeah, you were.
When was he not president anymore? I don't remember.
2016, right?
Jerry's right. I've never seen a lunch man. I've only seen lunch ladies.
I have.
Yeah, I've never seen a lunch man.
Lunchman.
Are you the lunchman? I am the lunchman.
Well, the lunchman. Oh, that's funny.
I am the lunchman.
You could do like a
Sounds
song
like a
about it, like the Nightman coming.
Sounds
The
like the name of a
Lunchman
bad HBO miniseries. Or trailer of that 80s campy horror movie.
Oh God.
The Lunchman.
This disfigured dude with a ladle.
Hairnet.
The flying lunchman.
Yeah, the flying lunchman.
The flying lunchman.
It's like the Flying Dutchman, but it's really off-brand.
Oh, man. Jeez Louise, it's so funny.
This is the funniest episode by far, I think.
The Lunchman.
I've not even looked to see how many people are watching. There's probably
I think Chase is in tears.
there's 11 people. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. I'm glad you.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Oh man.
And the last live stream
Oh
got
wait,
some
yeah,
good-
Rebecca, chef from South Park. He's the only lunchman I know.
Yeah, that's right, man.
Hello there, children.
Hello there, children.
Man, that was so wild the way that he ended on that show.
Yeah, he wasn't the guy that played it. Wasn't he like a Mormon? They got all upset when he did something. like that.
Scientology.
Oh, was it
No, I never
Scientology?
He was a
watched
Scientologist.
South Park that much. I don't know why.
Oh man.
Yeah, you remember Chef though, the
yeah,
African American
I
gentleman that
watched-
was yeah.
Yeah, I watched here and
He's
there.
the
I
big
know
black
the characters,
dude.
but I
Hello
never
there, children.
Yeah, but they had a
watched it.
falling out with him over their episode on Scientology and about like Xenu or whatever. And it was pretty in your
Really?
face because they had an
Oh, they-
episode
yeah.
where they literally were like describing it, and they had this disclaimer at the bottom of the screen flash, and this is what they actually believe.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
pretty bad.
And it is what they actually believe.
I know, it's
Like
pretty-
it's legit what they
You got to
actually
pay
believe.
$150,000 and go through 6 years of
Yeah. Training. Yeah, you got to go up.
What do they call that? Going clear,
Yep.
being on the e-meter,
Yep.
My
doing
God.
e-meter sessions with some cans or
I
whatever.
think Leah Ramini said it cost her almost $500,000 to get to that point where they finally revealed.
I
to
think
her
it's probably different.
how much money you have. Yeah, she's,
based on how much money
she's
you
pretty
have.
pretty loaded. So
Yeah. They're getting whatever they're getting for you.
yeah. But yeah,
That's a whole thing, dude. You could.
it was Isaac Hayes that did his voice. Isaac Hayes is the one who voiced
Really?
it. And he died a week later. Had a massive heart attack, like right after that.
Really?
Mhm.
Wow. I
Once you
didn't know
join
that.
South Park, you never leave.
Right?
A
Jeez.
curse was placed on him.
That lunchman will get you.
It will. It will.
Lunchman. Beware
I
the
still,
lunchman.
I can't stop thinking of the Flying Dutchman, but with like a small little spear. Flying.
That's so funny, man.
Man.
Goodness gracious.
Oh. Well,
Is it about that time?
it's about that time.
About that time.
All right, thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks
Hanging
for
out
having
with
me,
us.
y'all.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah.
That, well, you came up and filled in a spot. Reed. We'll do one. We'll sit down
Yeah.
and do the whole episode. And we'll
Yeah.
get into a little bit more about you, but we appreciate it. We were already on a.
We
good
were on
board.
some
We covered
tangents.
some things, son.
We did.
This has been the wackiest episode I've ever had the grace of listening to.
I'm so glad to be a part of that.
It was wacky. That's okay.
good.
Mitchell County needs more comedy shows.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
we absolutely.
Yeah.
It needs more wackiness.
Don't they do some down at the Dust?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they have had
Really?
a comedy show down there. Yeah, once. It was pretty good. It was pretty good.
We need some. There's a million cover bands. Why isn't there no cover comedians?
I don't know.
You just cover an entire set of
You know,
something.
Tony does open mic quite a bit, so you just got to start going, I
Right.
suppose. Just make a.
I'll
If
go down
somebody
there
wants
and
to do it,
make stuff up.
I will too.
Yeah, let's do it.
I've got a little bit. I've got about 5 minutes I could do. I might
too.
be able to fill up 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
We'll do some Kill Tony out there.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
You ever watch Kill Tony?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, Kill Tony's.
I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
Cool. He knows what-
No, I don't. I'm an ass.
No, so down there, Rogan's Club, or I guess they switched to doing it now, but it's down there in Austin now. They do, it's like a live comedy show where everybody puts their names in a hat and they just draw names out and they get to do 1 minute uninterrupted. And then there's always like a famous comedian or
Oh,
something.
that's
Tony
cool.
Hinchcliffe and
Yeah.
Brian Redband run it. And they always have like a guest comedian or two.
That's cool.
And then you get feedback from them. They kind of roast you a little bit or whatever, and you can, BS around with them. I think it's pretty cool.
That's
a big,
awesome.
good way to do it. You know?
It would.
Yeah.
It would.
I think you could reproduce that on a smaller scale.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like that for sure.
That'd be cool. Something of that. I don't want to copy ideas, but that would be really cool to do something.
Yeah,
like
why
that.
not?
Yeah.
Everybody else does. I
You have
mean,
to go
don't
watch
copy material, but copy ideas all you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just change it enough to make it yours.
Mm.
Right.
Oh, Matt, it's all good. I understand. I think that's why Shane had to cancel too. He had ball games that he had to attend. But we want to thank you all for watching. Thank you all for hanging out with us in this 2-hour-long comedy political insanity extravaganza.
This went from what do we start with?
We went off the rails.
We went from like
Spilled milk
to space to drugs
Weed.
to politics to school lunches to
Yeah.
what?
abortion.
Abortion.
What is this?
I'd say we've covered it all.
Yeah, I think so too. Please share this video to everybody, even people you don't like. You want them to see it too. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, if you like this kind of thing. We don't even know really what it is, but we're having fun doing it. So seriously though, subscribing, liking the video, comment down below anything you want. You could say anything in our comments. I do not care.
You could even insult us.
Sure. That's fine. As long as you type something, because the algorithm does not care whether it's good or bad or positive or negative. But thank you again for watching. Chase.
Beware the lunchman.
Yes. Laura, any last words before the lunchman gets you?
Oh God, the lunchman coming.
The lunchman
No,
comes.
I need dumpster. That's it.
Yep.
I need dumpster.
Yep.
All right, everybody. We love you all. Thanks so much for
See you
watching.
guys.
Till next time.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Peace out.